This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Have you ever felt disappointed by white chocolate? I know I have. A lot of times it doesn't have much flavor, but I found a really good white chocolate, and so I decided to make these white chocolate macadamia nut cookies. So the first thing we're going to do is get our dry ingredients together. So I'm going to get about 2 1/4 cups of flour and put it in my bowl. And then I'm going to start adding some of the leavening to it. And I'm going to be adding 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm just going to whisk that together and set it aside. Now, to continue to boost the flavor of this cookie, I'm going to use 2 kinds of sugar. So I'm going to get a cup of brown sugar and then 1/2 cup of white sugar. And I'm going to put that in my mixing bowl. And then I want to turn the machine on just for a minute or so because I really want those sugars to get nice and blended. And then I'm going to be adding 3/4 cup of softened butter, and that's 1.5 sticks. And I'm going to add that to the sugars and put that on low speed and start to make sort of a thick paste with the butter and the sugars. Then it's time to get out the eggs, and I'm going to go ahead and crack 2 eggs into a small bowl. And then in that same small bowl, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Now the butter's nicely mixed in. I'm going to go ahead and start adding the eggs and the vanilla, and I'm just going to put in 1 egg at a time, let it kind of mix around a little bit, and then add the second egg. Now here is the chocolate. It's a Lindt chocolate, and you can get it at many of the grocery stores, and you need 2 bars of the white chocolate. Now this chocolate was quite a surprise to me. I had heard about it from a professional pastry chef that this is all they use, and when I unwrapped it, I was really surprised. As I started to cut the chocolate up, because I need to get it into smaller pieces, it's very creamy and soft. Normally when you cut chocolate up, it flies everywhere, but not this chocolate. It is a very moist and delicious white chocolate. So what you want to do is just start cutting those 2 bars up into little chunks. Now once you get the chocolate all chopped, we're going to be using some macadamia nuts, and I like them to be unsalted if you can find them. And we're going to need about 1 cup of these chopped. These are a very big nut, so I don't want them finely chopped. I want them to show up in the cookie, but I just kind of want to cut them about in half. And again, we need to get about 1 cup of them together. Now go slowly with this nut because your knife can kind of roll off them. But once you get your cup, we're going to go back to the mixer and we're going to turn it off, and then we are going to add all of the rest of these ingredients at once. Now I noticed that I had still some butter on my paddle here, so I did want to go ahead and scrape that down and kind of get that mixed back in. But again, stop the mixer, put in all the flour, put in the cup of macadamia nuts, and put in the 2 bars of chopped white chocolate. Now it's really important that we don't overmix this cookie because the white chocolate is soft. So I'm just going to put this on low speed, and you'll see maybe 5 or 6 seconds, no more. Once it starts to come together, I turn the machine off, grab my spatula, and give it a final mix down. Now, one of the things with this cookie is you can actually put some saran over it and put it in the refrigerator and bake them off later, which is what I ended up having to do. And so then I just pulled them out of the refrigerator, got my parchment lined baking sheet and my little cookie scoop, and I just went ahead and started filling up my pan. And then I'm going to bake these in a 350-degree oven for just 9 minutes. It doesn't take long. I just want the edges to start to brown, and then get them off that cookie sheet so they can start to cool. You know, these are kind of a subtle flavor cookie with the white chocolate and the macadamia nut. That brown sugar adds a little bit of a caramel type flavor to it, but I'll tell you, you've got to use that Lindt white chocolate. It is definitely the best. Now, as always, if you'd like to give these cookies a try, go to our website and I've got the recipe there for you. Well, I hope you enjoy them and I'll see you next time.